Welcome to Too Tired for Love, why men are losing interest in sex in the age of burnout. Today, we're diving into a conversation that might make some people uncomfortable, but it's one that needs to be had. Because behind closed doors in bedrooms across the world something is happening, a quiet, growing distance, a silence that's not about words but about intimacy. And the truth is, a lot of men are just too tired to have sex. Now if you heard that and thought, wait, is that even possible? The answer is yes, absolutely yes, and not just possible, it's common. It's quietly common. Men coming home after long, grueling workdays, drained from responsibilities, pressures, and the relentless hamster wheel of modern life, only to find themselves face to face with a willing, loving partner, and absolutely no energy left for intimacy. Not because they don't love their partner, not because they don't want to, but because their tank is empty. So let's unpack this. What's going on here? Why are so many men finding themselves in this place where physical connection feels like one more task on an already overflowing to-do list? And why does this conversation often carry such a heavy weight of shame and silence? But it's not just about work. It's also about performance. And I'm not just talking about sexual performance, although that's part of it. I'm talking about performance in every aspect of life. Perform at work, perform as a partner, perform as a father, perform as a provider, perform financially, perform socially, perform. This relentless need to meet expectations creates an invisible but very real anxiety, an anxiety that creeps into the bedroom. Because sex, at its core, is vulnerable. It's about showing up fully. But if you've been carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders all day, vulnerability feels impossible. And then there's something even deeper. The shame. The shame of not being able to perform in every sense of the word. Society doesn't leave a lot of room for men to admit, hey, I'm exhausted, I'm not okay, I need rest. Instead, the message is, man up, push through, don't be weak. So when a man finds himself too tired or too anxious for intimacy, the guilt sets in. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just want this? But let me tell you something important. It's not your fault. This isn't about weakness or failure. This isn't about not loving your partner enough or not being man enough. This is about living in a system that demands everything from you and leaves you with nothing for yourself or for the person you love most. And then, of course, we have to talk about hormones. Because testosterone, one of the key drivers of libido in men, is declining globally. Study after study shows that testosterone levels in men have dropped significantly over the last few decades. And no, it's not just an aging problem. Younger men are experiencing this decline too. So what's happening? Environmental toxins, endocrine disruptors in our food and water, stress, lack of sleep, all of these things wreak havoc on testosterone production. Add poor diet, lack of exercise, and constant exposure to screens and artificial light, and you have the perfect recipe for hormonal imbalance. Let's also talk about quiet quitting. You've probably heard the term in the context of work, people who stop going above and beyond in their jobs because they're burnt out, overworked, and underappreciated. But what happens when quiet quitting starts showing up in relationships? When men feel so emotionally and physically drained that they start checking out of intimacy altogether, not because they don't care, but because they simply can't keep going at the same pace anymore. And here's the kicker: intimacy, love, and connection. They're not supposed to feel like another job. They're supposed to be a refuge, a safe place. But for so many men, intimacy has become just another area where they feel pressure to perform. So what do we do about it? Well, the first step is talking about it, taking this conversation out of the shadows and into the light. Because men need to know, you are not broken. Your exhaustion is not a failure. Your lack of libido is not a reflection of your love. We also need to start addressing the root causes: hormonal health, stress management, sleep hygiene, and yes, sometimes therapy. Because this isn't something you can just power through. It's something that requires healing, patience, and support. And partners, this conversation is for you too. If you're on the other side of this equation, wondering why intimacy feels distant or why your partner seems emotionally absent, know this: it's not about you. It's not about a lack of love or desire. It's about a world that has drained the man you love dry and left him running on fumes. So let's keep this conversation going. Let's stop pretending that exhaustion, anxiety, and low libido are things to be ashamed of. Let's start seeing them for what they are: signals. Because intimacy isn't just about sex, it's about connection, and every one of us deserves to feel connected. To ourselves, to our partners, and to the world around us. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Too Tired for Love. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, rest isn't weakness. Vulnerability isn't failure. And love isn't supposed to feel like another chore. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next episode.